It's just about that time of the week. Time for the Weekly Weebs Podcast. Grab your friends, family, waifus, and husbandos, and join your favorite weebs for an exciting show of anime talk. Hosts Crimson, Frenchie, Wigwiki, and Zario Machini will review and suggest shows, talk about news from the industry, and tackle some of the biggest arguments in the world of anime. It's the Weekly Weebs Podcast, starting now.
Voice guest joining us. You might recognize their voices if you are a fan of Digimon, Genshin Impact, and of course, One Punch Man, the wonderful, and is it Corina Boettger or Boettger?
Yeah, you said it right the first time. I'm honestly shocked.
See, I went to college with someone that their last name is spelled the exact same way, and it's Boettger, so I didn't know for sure.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
But Corina, we're really excited to have you. I know there was a little bit of breakdown in communication, but we are so happy were able to make some time for us.
Breakdown in communication? I'm just dumb.
You are totally fine. We're just happy to have you on to be able to talk. I know I talked to you a little bit about what we do at Anime Iowa and then through email, but just to kind of give you a rundown of what we're doing here, we're raising money for suicide prevention, that our proceeds go to fund Mission 22 for military veterans and the Trevor Project for LGBTQ youth, and just trying to do everything we can. We are currently over, I want to say $3,400 raised this month.
Wow!
And we are $190 away from hitting $10,000 raised over the 4 years we've done this.
That's amazing!
We're so close.
So close!
It's been incredible.
Yeah, we still have roughly 3.5 hours left on our stream. We started at 8 a.m. Central Time, and we're going till 8 p.m.
Awesome.
So, yeah, it's been a long day. We do this once a year. We do the full fundraiser for the entire month of November, but it's just a really exciting opportunity for us to help give back.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you and I, like I said, chatted a little bit. Being a non-binary voice actor, has that impacted you trying to roles or face any stigma in the industry at all?
I think, the biggest thing that non-binary people are trying to get across is that, non-binary doesn't have a sound. Oftentimes, anytime a non-binary character finally turns up in my... because I sound very feminine, but that's the thing is that, anytime anybody does a non-binary character in media, it's always somebody who's really androgynous. And non-binary people are not necessarily just androgynous. They range from everyone who's, masculine to super feminine and everywhere in between. And that's the point, is that there's not a sound, there's not a look to what non-binary is. And just like somebody can be very androgynous, but still identify as a man or a woman, too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I know that was something, we had Kieran Strange on last year, and they are a trans man that trying to discover, a way to get more masculine roles than just feminine, and that's something that they talked about, that recently, they've been able to get some of those more masculine roles. He was Kid Denki in Chainsaw Man. He was in one of the princes in I'm in Love with the Villainess. So I really think that's a cool thing that we're starting to see that change a little bit, at least from the very limited experience we have talking with voice actors.
Yeah, and that, because I definitely get pigeonholed because I sound so feminine, and I also sound very young. Even though it's funny, because it was actually one of my acting coaches that said that I was being ridiculous, because I was I'm never going to book characters that are over the age of 6. And he said that I was being ridiculous. And sure enough, ever since I kind of got that out of my head, I've been booking more adults, but it is still because what he said, and Kristen Chenoweth is the age of the dinosaurs, and yet she's higher pitched than you naturally. So what are you talking about?
That's totally fair.
Yeah. So it's even trying to expand on when it comes to voice acting, a voice doesn't necessarily mean just because it's high pitched doesn't mean that it means that's a 5-year-old either.
Yeah. It's something that I think really impacts is trying to make sure that you're not pigeonholing someone. It's, I know a lot of like live action actors have run into that. I know Christopher Reeve is a really classic one that everyone saw him as Superman, so he got typecasted and everything. Tom Holland was trying to make sure that didn't happen with Spider-Man. I think it affected Tobey Maguire in the early to mid 2000s for a while.
Very much did.
Which, since you brought up Christopher Reeves, my favorite role of his is in a show. It was originally a play, but they turned it into
Noises Off? Is it Noises Off?
Yes, it's Noises Off.
So, fun story. I actually did that play when I was in college. I absolutely adore that show, and it is one of the most complicated things I've ever had to do on stage. We had a turning set where it flipped so you could see behind set for the second act.
Oh, that's like mandatory for the entire show. And like, it's one of the few, like, although I think it's definitely more impressive when it's done live because the whole set has to flip for the second act. But I do believe that the movie was able to actually show more and be better than the play. But again, definitely much more impressive on the live stage.
Yeah, when you had a bunch of college kids trying to pull that off, it was kind of insane. I thought Matt was going to drive himself insane trying to direct that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of moving pieces, in like not just with the set, but with the actors too. And the timing has to be impeccable.
If it says anything, we rehearsed for 3 straight months. We didn't get Act 2 all the way correct through until dress rehearsal. And then Act 2... our opening night went great. Act 3 was a disaster because we put all our energy into Act 2. There's a scene where one of the main characters is supposed...
There's a
third act? There's a scene in the third act where one of the main characters is supposed to fall down the stairs, and that was played by Sam, and he missed his cue to do it. He walked back to like what is behind set, actually on set, and we're like, you were supposed to fall down the stairs. And he just looks us and mouths, oh shit, and then goes and does it. But because the show's so chaotic in the second and third act, you have no idea. We screwed up the second act, the second night, and the third act was fine, but you literally could not tell.
Well, it's because it's quite literally a show that goes wrong, which also, everyone a good laugh is watch any of the shows that go wrong type things. Like Peter Pan goes wrong. I think they just did Mary Poppins goes wrong.
Funny. The Peter Pan goes wrong ones are so good. I've seen some of them.
So good. And as a person who did Peter Pan, love it. Love it. It's so hysterical.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I love the meta takes on, like, being an actor, playing an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played Selsden, so I just got to pretend to be an old Irish drunk the entire time.
I love Selsden. Well, my favorite thing is that every time I hear that an actor friend has never seen the show, I get to show them that, and I'm like, you don't understand. We've met every single one of these actors. And they're like, I don't know what you mean. Like, so, for example, Allegra Clark is the gossip in it.
Mm.
That's her to a T. And I was like, you don't understand, Allegra. You're in this show and you don't even know it. And she watches it, and the moment that like they have to pause because the handle's door is not working, and her character does a twirl on the stage, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's me."
One of my favorite things is that in the movie, the director who's watching his entire show go to shit on this nationwide tour is played by Michael Caine.
Yep.
I didn't
So
know there was
good.
a movie of it.
Yes, and it's so good. Oh, that's right. You came up and saw
Yeah.
the show. Oh my God, it was so good.
And Carol Burnett is in it, and I love Carol Burnett.
Oh, that's right. She
So
played the
good.
maid on the play they were putting on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I loved doing that show. That is probably my favorite show I've ever done, with my favorite role being in Boys Next Door.
Also good.
Yeah, that one was fantastic. What's up?
Yeah.
I got a question for her.
Them.
Yes, them. Thank you. So sorry. I'm getting a little tired now. So
Okay.
obviously, coming out as binary, I'm sure that changed the way, just how life has been. Has there been any moments that you feel comfortable with to where it has affected your mental health and how you were able to get past that to become more badass than you are?
It's quite funny because I find that until I actually came out, I always had a problem with my femininity. I definitely had pick me energy, and it was bad. And it manifested in really toxic ways. Of constantly just being like against femininity and because I mean I think as society and our country specifically as a whole has a problem with femininity because God forbid anybody's feminine, especially men who present femininely, which like because it's quite fun. I have a straight friend who he's very naturally feminine, so he constantly gets accused of being gay all the time, and he's like I just don't care. And props to him because that's how like confident he is in himself. But he still gets, that discrimination just because he's perceived to be gay. And so I was constantly fighting against my femininity. And once I came out, I actually was way more secured in my femininity than I embraced it. And I was like, no, I don't owe anybody androgyny. I don't it doesn't because non-binary doesn't have a look. It doesn't have a sound, and that's awesome. And I felt freer at that point, to be more of myself.
Hell yeah,
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know that toxic masculinity is not just like in one realm or another, but
and that's the thing is that toxic masculinity doesn't even just manifest in men. It also manifests in like women, and I even had a trans friend who identifies as male, and he was like, oh my gosh, like so that there are times where I almost say things just so that I fit in male spaces. And I have to catch myself to be like, no, I'm not going to do that just to fit in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, we obviously toxic masculinity starts with men, but it doesn't just manifest in men.
Yeah. I know one of the big ones that's like in the realm of sports right now. There was a player, Caleb Williams, who plays quarterback for the Chicago Bears. He was a number one overall pick. He was the best player in college the last couple of years. He's a number one overall pick, but people are questioning his commitment to the game because he paints his nails, likes the color pink, and is emotional and like after a really
God
tough...
forbid! Because again, the minute that a man is feminine in any sort of way, nope, can't be taken seriously.
We talked with Jess Darrow earlier today, and they're the voice of Luisa in Encanto. And they talked like about the exact same way of, Luisa being viewed as masculine, and they're also, I believe, feminine presenting non-binary. I think it's the correct term, because they identify as she, them. But they were talking about the same type of thing of being tough to fit into like that gender norm, that gender role.
Yeah. And again, it comes down from a lot of things where people are narrow-minded, and either out of two things: either they're uneducated or they are being stubborn and be like choosing to still think that way. And I think it's why I also I love my husband very much, because there have been times where we have had discussions where I pointed out his narrow-mindedness, but he's always open to that criticism. So he's like, wait, no, let's talk about this. Why is that? And then we have like a deep discussion about that, and vice versa, because I'm in an interracial relationship. So like, as a white person, there are also times where my scope is narrow because I don't have that experience, and I never will as a white person. And so it's very interesting on the similarities between they're like different but same.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
It's tough
Yeah.
to put yourself in the shoes of someone that you'll never experience. That
Right.
has, like,
Exactly. I'll never actually truly experience what he goes through as a person of color, but the similarities in the way that discrimination manifests is something that we can identify with and be like, oh yeah, we kind of go through the same thing. It's just the base part of it is way different.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking as a cis, white, straight male, but I would do everything in my power to defend the rights of those that are at risk of having them taken away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons we do this every year. We donate money to the two groups that we think are most susceptible and vulnerable to thoughts of suicide, poor mental health, struggles on a daily basis, whether it's PTSD coming back from war or not being able to understand who you are as a person because of struggling with sexual orientation or gender identity. Those are two groups that have abnormal, there's not really a normal percentage of people that attempt or commit suicide, but those are abnormal rates higher than average.
Right, exactly, and I think it's also like the rate of homelessness within basically those who have been at war coming home, and then also people who are identify as LGBTQ, like that's also higher than the normal rate too. So it's just like, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
On a positive note, is there anything like, we talked, obviously, when we get voice actors on, we want to talk about their career. Are there any moments from, like, your career, we talked about, like, the challenges you face, but, like, positive moments that stand out that have helped you look forward, made you enjoy your career that much more?
When I was voicing Mizuki in the Somnium Files, which you should definitely go play that game, it's awesome. We come up to a point where Mizuki, as a 12-year-old, is talking about basically fighting for the rights of the LGBTQ, and she's and I was shocked that was written in the script already, and that was a thing. And because Ushikoshi, who is a Japanese man who made Ida Somnium Files, is very pro-LGBT and, like, basically kind of throws it in your face in every single game that he makes. And I'm like, yes, I love that. And it's quite funny because there were some people that were trying to argue that that's a mistranslation. And Ushikoshi himself was like, no, it's not. I wrote that. Like, that is exactly what they say in the Japanese. You are wrong. And to have a creator who not only, like, writes that specifically in his art, but then also backs it up and is unapologetically backing it up. Yeah. And it was also at the time, it was before I had come out as non-binary, and so, like, I remember doing that line and basically crying afterwards because I was like, that was just meant so much to me that was being done.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's in tight?
So we also had Sean Chiplock earlier, which was really cool to get both of you guys that came and visited Iowa at Anime Iowa this year on. He spoke, some of the challenges of overbooking yourself, trying to make time for not just his wife but his partner as well. That has been something very difficult for him at times. Have you kind of run into yourself, like, stretching yourself a little too thin, being, in this industry?
I do that because I'm also physically disabled. I'm both mentally and physically disabled with, I have autism, and then I also have Crohn's disease. And oftentimes I will go through this cycle of, oh gosh, I have enough spoons that I can actually get all the things done right today. And I do that, forgetting that, like, the minute that I run out of those spoons, though, it takes a few days for those to come back. So my husband actually gets mad at me about this quite a bit because he's like, you're going to run yourself ragged you have to space these out. You have to actually schedule rest time. So I will work too much for 1 week, and then I will be down and out for 3, which is not good. But it's a cycle that I find that a lot of disabled people go through. We oftentimes disabled people, especially in the eyes of people that are able-bodied, you know, when we talk about our disabilities and like what we can and we can't do, we're often told, oh, you can still do that. And it's like, no, I can't. And that's okay. And stop telling me that I can. Knowing my limitations and actually respecting those limitations makes it so that I can do the things that I can do on the regular, rather than going hard for a week and then being down and sick for 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
That's way worse.
My girl also has Crohn's disease, and it like sometimes can fuck her up real bad. And when she tells her friends, she's like, "I'm sick. I can't really go do stuff." And they're like, "Oh, you'd be fine." And it's like it's not the kind of sick where I just get a cold. You know,
I'm not just tired. I'm dying.
It's bad.
Right, and that's the other thing is that like when there's a difference, I've learned to say I'm exhausted because people don't understand the difference between I'm tired versus being disabled of being tired.
Yeah. So it's
Those are two different, vastly different things. I have to always say I'm exhausted for them to understand.
Everyone understands being tired. It's like, oh yeah, that's part of being an adult. We'll leave you be.
That's how it is. No, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, God forbid you're actually sick.
Yeah, and they usually come back with it like, you're exhausted, you only did this today. Yep, that took all of my spoons. I'm done.
I kind of feel that. Very different situation, but I do high school play-by-play for one of the local high schools here, and I will come out of like a day where I'll do like a basketball game in the evening, but I'll have done like a hockey game in the morning or something like that. People are like, you just talked all day. I'm like, do you have any idea how stressful and draining it is to be presentable and social with people that you don't know and have to talk about this something specific and be entertaining
all
with
day.
it for
it's so exhausting.
even 4 to 5 hours. I can come out of a game and be drained. If it's an exciting game, very different. But if it is like a blowout where our team's winning by 20, 30 points, I'm ready to leave at halftime. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, no one's watching because no one cares unless you're a parent of a bench player. But strong chance if it's grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncles of the star players, they're not playing. The parents stopped caring.
Right. Exactly. And I find that also I'm much more willing to hang out with certain friends because like I don't have to mask in front of them. Part of like being autistic, we often mask in front of people so that way we can appear more regular or appear more normal. It always fails every time. I'm still called weird.
No,
but
with that.
try our best. And there are definitely certain friends that I feel more comfortable in unmasking, so I'm much more willing to spend time with them because masking just causes me to like spend extra spoons that I don't normally have. Yeah, it definitely takes a lot more for that. It's why we actually got me a service dog, which. Speaking of, that's why I was late. I went on a walk and I completely forgot what I was doing because Hickman Bloom has a community week this week. And I was like, right, I can do that. And she's currently passed out because the walk was really long. But, she's a standard poodle. We're training her to be my service dog. So that way, hopefully in the future, if I'm ever in public and I have a meltdown, she can be able to help me in a few different ways by, like, pressure therapy, where if I'm sitting down, she'll lay down on top. Also finding a place for me that is safe and quiet, as well as reminding me to take my medications, because when I'm in that heightened state, especially, I have medications that can help bring me back down. The only thing is I'm already in that heightened state. I have forgotten anything that I have with me. So, yeah.
What is your dog's name?
Her name is Aoife, which is a Celtic name, and it means beautiful.
I love that.
I fuck with that.
Jinx and pour each other a Coke.
How about a kiss?
She's so cute. She's. I I mean, I know not everybody else can see me, maybe, but
I can pick up the phone and show.
there we go.
Oh, so sleepy.
Oh my god, I want to sleepy. She let me put her hair in a ponytail today. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there.
That is adorable.
That is precious.
EP.
I'm a huge dog guy. I love dogs. Dogs are beautiful.
You just don't like Zwine.
I love anything that's fuzzy. The problem is that I'm allergic to cats. I'm actually slightly allergic to dog saliva. But that's okay. I'll accept it. And then I would love to have a bunny, but I'm very allergic to hay, and hay is required for bunnies.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Cole can relate.
Yeah. I also have a big hay allergy.
You used to have a lot of.
I used to have a lot of allergies, and allergy shots got me through them.
You were one of 2 people I've ever met allergic to fruits and vegetables.
No! Oh, my roommate is! My roommate is
2.5.
My roommate, and also Haley, who's a trans voice actress, love her. She was the first person that told me, oh, I'm allergic to uncooked fruits and vegetables, and I know that sounds fake. And I was like, no, I believe it, because with an autoimmune disorder, technically, I'm allergic to my own body. So I get it. And then my roommate was the second person that I've met who's allergic to uncooked vegetables and uncooked fruit.
That was what I was allergic to for so long, and then I got allergy shots done. Now I've been able to eat that stuff, and it's been so nice.
It's crazy maybe
He
you can
tried the
develop that
allergy
allergy.
shots for a while, and he didn't notice enough of a difference for him to continue it.
I did it for like 5 years, and like I didn't even try like eating any of that stuff. Yeah, I just let the allergy shots do their thing, and then at the end of it,
And now he
maybe
can go to
that's
Olive
it.
Garden.
yeah, now I can go to Olive Garden. I can eat a salad. I've been eating mandarin oranges a lot lately.
I love oranges. Yeah,
Before,
I have
when
like,
you were there, you were itchy.
I also have 2 birds, and they they're on mostly a diet of like fresh fruits and veggies, and then some pellets.
Yeah.
I should be.
Did you say birds?
Yeah, I have
Birds.
2 birds. Hold on, maybe I can get them right now. They're playing in boxes. Come here.
I'm scared of birds.
Burbs.
But free the pigeons.
Birds are scary.
Burbs.
I still refuse to believe that pigeons are real. Those are just drones controlled by the government.
My
Birds.
family.
Their names.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, burbs.
Their names are Zulu and Lima. Zulu's the dark green, and Lima's the reddish, yellowish one.
Okay, they're kind of cute. Still scared.
Yeah, they still play.
Zulu is very sweet and will snuggle with anybody. Lima has maybe half a brain
Came right at
cell.
us.
My family has a bad reputations with birds. We get shit on all the time, and
Yep.
they like if we have food around us, like they'll fly at us and get the food. Like if I'm on the beach and I'm carrying a hot dog, that fucking bird's
Yeah.
coming at me.
Burbs.
I have literally watched my dad try to feed a pigeon and the pigeon eat out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, when we used to have a boat when I was a kid, would literally throw cheese balls out for seagulls, and we would joke that DNR is trying to figure out why all their shit is orange.
Burbs.
I think pigeons have a very bad rap because, like, the thing about pigeons is that we actually domesticated them.
What?
Yeah.
pigeons?
Okay. So, technically speaking, every single pigeon that is quote-unquote wild, they're not. They're domesticated animals. They are more domesticated than my 2 birds. My 2 birds are wild.
Burbs.
Huh.
Yeah, parrots are still wild animals. Pigeons are fully domesticated. But what happened was we didn't need, because we used them a lot of the time for, sending messages. We used them for thousands and thousands of years. And then the minute that they became unuseful for us in that regard, we were like, you're fine. And that's why pigeons are everywhere. Pigeons are really smart. They can learn tricks. They memorize people's faces, so they can remember who scares them or not.
Burbs.
They remember which people have dogs
Huh.
because dogs usually chase pigeons. Like it's nuts.
I read
Pigeons are so smart. You can literally. It's actually completely legal for you to take a pigeon off the street and make it a pet.
Technically, everything is if they don't find out. But
That's questionable but there are certain birds, like pigeons are domesticated, so it's fine. There are certain invasive species of finches that are in the United States that were let free, and technically speaking, even though I have friends that have those types of finches, and they would say, please don't do this unless you are trained to deal with finches, because they are a specific breed. But technically, legally, you can also grab those types of birds and take them into your home. Otherwise, like most birds, you're not supposed. It is illegal for you to take them off the street and put them in your home and call them a pet. Yeah.
The Iowa State bird is actually the goldfinch. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, but that's native to Iowa, I think.
I hope so.
Otherwise, they got a lot of explaining to
It'd
do.
be
Just like
weird
that
to have
one
a
right
state
over there.
bird that was not native to that area.
It better be, or else Iowa has some explaining to do.
Right? But yeah, it's almost the same thing that we're doing. We're seeing the process of like, cats are slowly becoming more feral, like house cats, because when people decide that they don't want a cat anymore or a dog, they do this to them too, and it ticks me off. Instead of trying to rehome the dog or cat, or like even worst case scenario, and sending the dog to the shelter or cat to the shelter, they will, just set them free. And then, so we're seeing that there is now almost a genetic difference between a house cat and a feral cat, which means we are undomesticating cats.
Yeah. Who domesticated themselves.
Yeah.
Crazy to me. The story about the guy that tied his dog up when escaping the hurricane in Florida, I hope that man rots in prison.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because, when hurricanes like that happen, unfortunately, there's I think it should be put into law that no hotel and no sanctuary for people should be allowed to say no to people with animals.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I totally get it. Not every animal is going to be, maybe have the requirement, but that animal needs to stay in a kennel or something, because, I totally understand we don't really know what animal is okay with other animals, and we don't want them fighting. I get that. But then just require them to be in a kennel, and that fixes that.
Yeah.
Will that suck for that dog to be in a kennel for that period of time? Yes. But will that dog be saved from potentially being left behind because a family has to make the terrible decision of leaving their dog, their loved pet behind because they need to save their family? Yes, it would stop that. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Was it brain fart?
Definitely don't leave your dog chained up, though, if you do choose to leave them behind. Because don't get me wrong, you have to choose between your loved animal versus, taking care of your family. That's a hard choice. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but definitely do not leave them tied up. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, no, that's fucking stupid.
Because that is guaranteeing your pet will die.
Facts. Especially with how high those waters get, you're not even giving them a chance to swim.
Yeah.
Right. If you have to make that terrible decision, because again, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, at least let them be unleashed.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. What are some of your favorite pastimes to just chill and relax?
I love playing video games. I think that's been a big de-stressor for me since I've been a young kid. Which is funny because it used to be a huge stressor in my life because I have vivid memories of my sister playing Mario on the original Nintendo, and just anytime she ended up in Bowser's Castle, that's the whole mood of Mario changes. The sound goes to and it terrified me as a 3-year-old. I would cry anytime she would go into Bowser's Castle. And I would just cry so much. But when I started growing up and really playing the games myself, they've been a huge part of me relaxing. I also really enjoy crafting, with crocheting and also knitting, and there is a difference. For my I've crocheted and knitted so many different things. My husband's brother just had twins, and I made them blankets, I made them jackets, I made them shirts, pants. I made them a lot of stuff. And I have another friend who is planning on having a kid, so I'm starting to like collect yarns, so that way I could also get in the process of making their future child a whole bunch of stuff as well. And I'm unable to have children of my own, so like I basically just knit everything for like my niece, my nephew, and my other 2 new nephews now, and then my friend's children.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
fun aunt.
it's a lot of fun.
Pretty much.
And then I also really enjoy animal training, actually. Lima, again, he's really dumb, but I actually achieved training a trick out of him. Was shocked I even did that. I was not, because some animals are just easier to train than others. And that doesn't say you're necessarily a bad trainer, but I'm definitely not a professional. Professional trainers should be able to really train any animal, regardless of how difficult they are. Lima's definitely the most difficult animal I've ever had to train, but I've actually succeeded in training him on flight training. So like I've trained recall with them, and I train recall with them on a regular because God forbid if they ever accidentally get out, I can hopefully get them back in. Zulu is much better. Zulu is like my trick bird. I taught her how to play basketball in 3 days.
What? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, she has the little tiny hoop with a little tiny ball that she puts in the basketball. And it's the cutest thing, and it's her favorite trick.
That's awesome.
She also, she'll wave on command with her little talons. Oh, I actually taught him 3 tricks because I recall trained him, I taught him how to dance, and then he knows how to kiss. So Lima's actually learned 3 tricks.
That's awesome.
Today, while I was on my walk, I was training Aoife, and I've been teaching her a lot of different stuff, and one of those has been stay. And today was my first time of trying stay in public with a lot of people around, so with a lot of distractions and a lot of different smells. And she did it first try. Woo! So it was I was able to like make her stay, walk away from her, and then just chill. And she was off leash and did not move.
That's awesome.
She was very good. So I'm very happy with
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm here for that. That's fucking
All right,
awesome.
Corina, we're a little short on time. We got to get to another interview coming up in a little bit, but I'm so happy that you made the time for us. So happy getting to meet you at Anime Iowa and chat again here. We'd love to have you back on in the future to talk more about...
I would love to be back, and I'm going to send you the print. I promise. I've just been really sick this entire month.
You are totally fine,
Yeah.
and feel free, if it ends up being too much, don't worry about it.
You don't worry about it. I can send it to you. I just have to actually do it.
That's fair.
Well, there's no rush on
That's right.
anything. Thank you again so much. Any final thing where people can learn more about what you do? Anything where people can find you on social media?
I'm definitely on Blue Sky because it's way better than that Twitter one, but I'm also on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. On Twitter, you can find me at the Bird Zulu. On Blue Sky, it's Corina Boettger. On Instagram, it's Corina.Boettger. I'm on TikTok, Corina Boettger. I stream on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Corina Boettger. I also have a website, www.CorinaBoettger.com, where I even have a section if you ever want to learn how to voice act. I teach classes, and all the information is available on my website for that.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day, and good luck with training your service dog.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope we reach our goal.
We're so close. Thanks again. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Weekly Weebs podcast.
We'll be back next week with more exciting anime talk.
Make sure to join us every show to stay up to date with what's going on in the world of anime. We'll catch you next time.